Hey, I'm Steve Lowell, and thanks for clicking through. By now you know that the Repumeter allows you to manage your own reputation within your circles of influence so that you can stand out and above your competition. Let's do a quick review of the Repumeter milestones because we're going to be referring to these milestones several times within this short video. So, the Repumeter is a system that manages your reputation by identifying 4 specific spots. And here they are. The first spot on the Repumeter is called obscurity. Obscurity happens for most people when they first start out in their business. Obscurity means that nobody really knows who you are, they don't really know what you do, and you haven't really established a name or a reputation for yourself yet. Now, sadly, I know all kinds of people that I've known for 15 and 20 years, and I still don't know what they do. They're kind of stuck in that obscurity stage. I hope that doesn't happen to you, and I don't think it will after our video today. And then the second stage on the Repumeter is what I call competitive. Now, at the competitive stage, what that means is that you've done some business, you have some clients, people have a reasonable idea of who you are and what you do, and you're kind of in that crowd, so you're in the game. But there's nothing really that stands out for you. There's nothing that really sets you apart from everybody else who does what you do. And then there's the next spot right at the top of the Repumeter. That's called the distinctive stage. At the distinctive stage, people are starting to recognize you for something different other than what you've been known for. And here's the thing. At the distinctive stage, that's called a tipping point, because this is where your name starts to become associated with the outcomes that you provide rather than the process you follow. So instead of being known as a coach or a trainer or a speaker or an author, you become known as a specific coach, trainer, speaker, or author that gets specific results. Now, that distinctive stage is a difficult spot to reach. Most people never reach it, but we're going to show you how to get there today. And then if you really play your cards right, and if you stick in your business long enough, and if you really do what's required, your needle can move all the way over to what I call the category of 1 stage. At the category of 1 stage, you are the known expert in your field. You are the professional of choice for your area of expertise, and that's where we want to strive to. Now, in a few moments, I'm going to share with you the 3 reputation control factors that you absolutely must implement in order to propel your reputation in a controlled manner through the Repumeter milestones over to the category of 1 stage. I'm also going to share with you a mission-critical skill that will position you as the known expert in your field, anchor your reputation, and place you towering over your competition, and do it fast. Now, in addition to all of that, I'm going to be presenting you with a very special and limited offer. It's a very limited offer because it involves you and me together. Now, before we explore the 3 control factors for reputation management and that mission-critical skill I mentioned, we need to discuss 2 types of branding that you need to understand in order to fully leverage the Repumeter concept. Those 2 types of branding are called random branding and controlled branding. Now, without a crisp understanding of these 2 marketing principles, you run a substantial risk of your business being weighed down by a poor reputation of which you may not even be aware. Understand the principles of random branding versus controlled branding, and you control the destiny of your business because you'll control the direction of your own reputation. Okay, let's get started. Let's start with random branding. Random branding is where your market decides what your reputation will be. They'll associate your name based on what others say about you. Now, here's how the Repumeter will work against you when you don't establish your own reputation and control your brand. The most likely case scenario is this: people won't be talking about you at all, which means you'll be stuck at that obscurity stage and you'll never really build a successful business and never really understand why. You'll find yourself constantly swimming upstream, frustrated and exhausted, trying to break through that income ceiling and never reaching your true potential. The best case scenario under random branding is this: your name will become associated with your process. You'll be known as a something, a business coach, a spiritual advisor, a personal trainer, and you will forever be lost in the crowd, never to stand out in your field. Again, constantly swimming upstream, frustrated and exhausted, still trying to break through that income ceiling, and once again, never reaching your true potential. Now here's the worst case scenario for random branding. Your name could become associated with an undesirable outcome. You could possibly reach the distinctive stage, or even surpass the distinctive stage and go all the way to category of 1. But if you don't control what people are saying about you, your name can become associated with a negative outcome, which will absolutely kill your chances of success in your business. You know, in 2009, a Canadian band called the Sons of Maxwell recorded a song that they wrote, and they produced a video all about how United Airlines smashed one of their guitars and then refused to pay to have it repaired. Within days, that video had millions of views on YouTube. It was played on every major news station in the world, including CNN. Now, currently, almost 16 million people have seen this video just on YouTube alone. The impact to United Airlines' reputation was absolutely devastating. Ultimately, they recovered somewhat from the event, but it took years and lots of money to get past all of this. This is the potential impact of random branding. And in this case, United Airlines' reputation was driven by what others are saying about them, and they became known as the airline that breaks guitars. Notice I didn't say an airline that breaks guitars. I said the airline that breaks guitars. That's a category of 1. Now, chances are superb that until now, you've been leaving yourself open to random branding because you may not be executing the 3 reputation control factors, and you may not have mastered that 1 mission-critical skill, all of which I'm going to tell you about very soon. Now, even if people happen to be saying good things about you, even if you're not controlling what they're saying, then you are at risk of branding taking a negative turn even if you don't deserve it. Now, the 3 reputation control factors that I'll explain soon will prevent random branding from occurring and allow you to apply controlled branding. Now, let's talk about controlled branding. Controlled branding happens when you take specific steps to control what people are saying about you and who is saying those things. With controlled branding, you get to decide how your reputation moves up that Repumeter by controlling how your name is being spoken of within your circles of influence. Larger corporations spend millions of dollars on national advertising in order to establish this control. They have the financial resources to establish their own reputation and compete with other brand names. Now, most small business owners like you and I, we don't have the resources to invest such huge amount of money in order to buy our reputation. We have to use different strategies to control our branding. Now, this brings us to the 3 reputation control factors for reputation management. And then I'll explain that mission critical skill that will act like a turbo booster for your reputation. The 3 control factors are 3 things that you absolutely must do in order to control your branding as a small business owner, to guide your reputation through the Repumeter stages, and to stand out above your competition. Understand that all 3 of these factors are required. If you only apply 2 of them, you're leaving yourself open to random branding somewhere along the way. Let's explore the 3 control factors and how you can execute them. The first control factor for reputation management is outstanding client results. If you don't have clients that are getting outstanding results from your product or services, your name will never likely move past that competitive stage on the Repumeter because your name will never be associated with a desirable outcome. You must do whatever is required to elevate your expertise, master your craft, improve your product or service, and get those outstanding results for at least some of your clients. The mission-critical skill that I'll expose shortly will help you elevate your expertise, deliver better service, and ensure that your clients achieve those outstanding results. Now, the second control factor in our reputation management model is to turn those clients for whom you have delivered outstanding results into raving fans. If your clients are getting outstanding results, but they're not telling anyone about them, your needle on the Repumeter will never move. It'll get stuck once again, and once again you'll leave yourself open to random branding. Turning your happy clients into raving fans is all about controlling what they say about you and to whom they say it. Now, this can be done in part through results-oriented testimonials on social media or on your website, all of which can be very powerful tools. In addition to testimonials, there's another skill that you need to turn your happy clients into raving fans. And you guessed it, I'll be telling you about that very, very soon. The third reputation control factor is this. You must have an ever-increasing circle of influence. Your circle of influence, as it pertains to this discussion, is defined as the population within which you can catalyze action. In other words, your circle of influence is comprised of the people who will take some sort of action based on something you say or do. Now, most entrepreneurs increase their circle of influence in tiny increments, one person at a time. They do this by going to networking meetings, chambers of commerce, and other events where they exchange business cards and talk to lots of people and really hope to make a few relevant connections. Now, I understand that these types of activities are valid and important steps in creating a reputation for yourself and finding clients. And I'm not suggesting that you stop doing these things if you're doing them. But here's the thing. These are the activities that all of those entrepreneurs who are locked in at the competitive stage of the Repumeter are doing. They're increasing their circle of influence one person at a time, hoping to do it long enough to create a following and become the expert in their field. The reality is, it's a pipe dream. It'll never ever happen that way. You will never become known as the expert in your field. You'll never have your name associated with anything other than process, and you will never ever stand out above your competition by relying on this old and tired traditional method of reputation control. You need to increase your circle of influence exponentially, not one person at a time. So the next question is, how do you do that? How do you increase your circle of influence exponentially so that you can establish your reputation on the outstanding results that you provide and lock in your position as the known expert in your field? Well, this brings us to that mission-critical skill that will act as a turbo booster for your reputation. It's a skill that's universally known as being a powerhouse when it comes to skyrocketing a reputation. It's a skill that most entrepreneurs know they have to master in order to really get ahead, but are too afraid to even try or think they're already good at it when they're really not. And it's a skill that for those who truly master it can make a reputation in minutes. And for those who think they've mastered it but haven't, it can ruin a reputation in minutes. That's why, if it's still available, I'll be making you a special offer towards the end of this session. So stay tuned for that. It's a very relevant and important offer to what we're talking about here because it will help you expand your circle of influence in a huge way and in exactly the direction you need your business to go. But more on that offer in just a few minutes. Almost every top university in America, including Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and even UCLA, include this specific skill in their curricula because they all agree that this skill is mandatory for massive business success. On November 23, 2012, Forbes magazine published an article that supports that same understanding. The article was entitled, "Every Entrepreneur Needs to Master Public Speaking." Now, Forbes magazine and I totally agree. Effective public speaking is the one mission-critical skill that will put those 3 reputation control factors into overdrive and blast your reputation across that Repumeter all the way over to the category of 1 stage at lightning speed. Effective speaking skills will lock you into the position of leader in your field, turn happy clients into raving fans, and blow your circle of influence wide open by thousands or even millions of people at a time, but only if it's done well. And here's the good news for you. If your competitors are out there on the stages and in front of your target audience speaking about their businesses and making their offers, chances are about 99% that they're not doing it well. And that opens the door for you to step in, take control, and grab the top spot within your circle of influence. Now, chances are also superb that your competitors, if they're out there speaking, are boring their audiences half to death with presentations that are really nothing more than constant streams of mind-numbing PowerPoint slides and poorly delivered information dumps from which their audiences retain almost zero real value. The fact is that truly professional and influential speaking skills are really pretty simple. They do take some practice to master, of course, but the actual techniques are easy to understand and implement if you have the right teacher. My name is Steve Lowell, and in my 25 years of training, coaching, and mentoring entrepreneurs and professional speakers all over the world, I've found that most entrepreneurs struggle with presenting their message in an influential manner when they speak or present about their business. The vast majority of them cram their presentations into text-based or useless pictorial PowerPoint slides. They ramble on and on about how great their business is and then walk away, leaving their audiences dazed and confused. Now, what kind of branding do you think takes over when your audience feels like they had to suffer through your presentation and then didn't get any real value at the end of it all? Random branding is correct. Now, by getting in front of an audience before you're properly prepared and trained to deliver an effective presentation, you're relinquishing control over what your audience is saying about you, opening the door for random branding to take over, and running the risk of your name being associated with a really poor presentation. Can you recover from that? Maybe. But why take a huge step back only to have to take months or maybe even years to recover if you can recover at all? That's why I provide professional speaking training to entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are fed up with getting lost in the crowd, unable to establish themselves as the known expert in their field, and who need to finally do what's required to claim their position at the top of the hill. So many other public speaking training programs are taught by people who have never ever spoken on a professional stage. They still teach the old school methods of memorizing and reciting a speech, and they still teach how to cram your entire presentation into PowerPoint. Or they'll teach you all the theory and principles, but not give you any opportunity to actually practice the skills. Learning to speak well from a lecture is like learning to swim well from a book. It's great to know the theory, but at some point you'll need to jump into the pool. As an international professional speaker myself, I have the honor of being one of only 12% of the world's professional speakers who hold the Certified Speaking Professional designation conferred by the National Speakers Association. I also have the privilege of serving as a national director on the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers Board of Directors, and I'm a member of the Global Speaker Federation. I've been on the live stage since the age of 6. That's 48 years ago. And in 48 years of experience, I can tell you what works and what doesn't work on the live stage. So, if you're finally ready to step up, stand out, and be remembered and recognized for your brilliance, listen on, because I have something for you that is going to put you exactly where you need to be, ahead of your competition and in front of more and higher paying clients. So, let's talk a little about how you can claim your space as the top name in your field, execute the 3 reputation control factors, and totally dominate your market by understanding a few simple keys to effective public speaking. You see, your ability to elevate your business depends on your ability to accomplish 5 business outcomes. Inspire others to support your vision, think and negotiate, handle PR like a pro, create growth opportunities, and elevate your leadership finesse. These 5 business outcomes are fundamental to standing out from your competition and winning the business. And the single best way to achieve all of these outcomes is by mastering the art of speaking in public. But your speaking has to be so much more than just reading from a bunch of PowerPoint slides. There are specific skills that you need to master to really become an effective and powerful speaker. So let's take a look at some of those right now. On April 4th, 2016, an article was published by Stanford Graduate School of Business in which a team of data scientists analyzed more than 100,000 presentations from corporate executives, politicians, and keynote speakers. And what they found underlines how critically effective speaking is to business success. For example, just the language used in corporate earnings calls was found to affect up to 2.5% of stock price movement. That means that the language that you use when you speak about your business affects your client's confidence in your business enough to actually alter their perceived value of you and your business. I teach my professional speaking clients to adopt 3 principles of language when they speak or present. First, you want your language to be visual. Now, studies by educational researchers suggest that approximately 83% of human learning occurs visually. Most people make the mistake of using pictures on PowerPoint slides to accomplish the visual learning objective. But the principles of metacognition prove that this is most often counterintuitive. It really doesn't work like we think it does. Using visual language engages more centers in the brain and increases understanding and retention far better than a picture on a PowerPoint slide. Second, your language should be emotional. It should trigger an emotional response in your audience. Most entrepreneurial speakers are taught the wrong skills. This is because most public speaking instructors have never been professional speakers and don't understand the very purpose of speaking. They teach that the purpose of speaking is to transfer information, to inform or to educate. But this isn't all the truth. It's not even close to the truth. The true purpose of effective and persuasive speaking is to transfer emotion. Yes, the information is a big part of your presentation, but its purpose is to transfer emotion because it's the emotion that's going to elicit action within your audience. Third, you want your language to be in motion. There should be a story that the audience can follow, and the language should contain relevant vocal variety. That Stanford study of over 100,000 speakers found that even just a 10% increase in vocal variety when speaking in public can have a highly significant impact on your audience's attention to and retention of your message. Putting your language into motion is driven by what some refer to as authenticity. Now, the research team found that the top 10% of authentic speakers were considered to be over 30% more trustworthy and over 30% more persuasive than the average communicator. So if these principles are so simple, why don't more entrepreneurs master these skills? Well, there are lots of excuses that people use to keep them stuck in that obscurity position. Let's explore some of those excuses right now. Number 1, I'm afraid to speak in public. Well, guess what? So is about 75% of the population. That's nothing to be ashamed of. Almost everyone is afraid to speak in public. But here's the thing. If you can learn in a safe environment with supportive and encouraging people and a seasoned, experienced, and professional instructor, you can overcome that limiting fear very quickly. Here's another excuse. I don't really think that it's important for me. Well, is getting new clients and more business important to you? Because the next time one of your competitors is on the stage instead of you, who do you think is going to get whatever business is in that room? And how much more business are you willing to walk away from before you recognize how important speaking really is to your business? Another excuse, I've already taken public speaking courses. Well, then it's highly unlikely that you have a lot to unlearn. If your presentations are a bunch of PowerPoint slides, and if you are sort of power hosing your audience with information, you're doing more damage than good, and you need to learn how to do it correctly. Here's another one. Public speaking courses are expensive. Yep, they sure can be. Here's a screen capture from Harvard showing their price of $2,600 for a 2-day public speaking training program. In fact, there are lots of these courses offered by major universities, and the reason why they charge so much for them is because they know how critical these skills are to your business success. My programs are expensive too. My VIP mentorship clients pay $10,000 and more because they know that they can earn far, far more than that, often in just 1 or 2 small speaking engagements. And most of those speaking engagements are free. They don't even get paid a speaking fee, and they still make tens of thousands of dollars from a single speaking engagement because they've learned how to speak with influence and how to make an offer. Let's look at just a few of my clients and how they've leveraged what we're talking about here today and elevated their income substantially.
Hi, this is Sandra Tissiot of My Life Locker, and I just want to give a big shout-out testimonial to Steve Lowell. I hired him as my speaking coach, and it's one of the best things I did. I sold in 1 day more than I had all year. Books were flying off the back table. So, highly recommend him. Thank you, Steve.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Huppard. I am a business coach and a client attraction specialist, and I want to recommend my mentor, speaking mentor, Steve Lowell. He's an incredible speaking coach. I've been working with him for over a year now. I knew that I wanted to get out there and do more speaking to effectively promote my business, as well as host a live event. And after hosting my event and working with Steve, I did well over 6 figures in sales. So if you're looking to promote your business, hire Steve. The returns on investment will be immeasurable.
So here's the bottom line. Now that you understand how to apply the Repumeter to your own reputation, you have a choice. You can choose to stay passive, allow random branding to take over, and let your reputation be determined by chance and risk being invisible in obscurity, or you can choose to trigger the 3 reputation control factors by discovering your authentic speaking gifts, bring your message and expertise to the world through controlled branding, and watch your reputation and your income absolutely skyrocket. Let me help you soar.